Hey, here we are, Sportsbook 2.0, Pauly and Teddy, betting insight today on SBRpicks.com, Thursday, March 29th. Happy opening day. It's here. We'll get to Kluber and King Felix tonight, the late game on ESPN. We got OKC taking on the Spurs, and we also have the NIT title game. We'll go rapid fire coming up. We'll turn on the shot clock as well with some win totals advice, or biggest underachiever, overachiever, and the play of the day before we get out of here. The NFL coming around. How about that? Well, you're talking to billions of dollars. We'll talk about the hypocrites in a second. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. As always, follow us on Twitter at RealSportsBet and at Teddy_Covers. They overreacted here to Kevin Love being out, and I think LeBron's only lost once in his life to Charlotte. Plus 1.5, went off a 2-point favorite, routed as the Cavs shot 71% in the second quarter, Teddy, and led by 20.
Yeah, I mean, there was thought that Charlotte was still trying to be alive in this playoff chase. There was thought that the absence of Kevin Love was going to kill Cleveland on the second of back-to-backs. The bottom line, LeBron's still there, 41, 10, and 8 last night, two assists shy of a triple-double. Bettors got this one dead wrong. All the money came on Charlotte. Cleveland cashes all the tickets.
All right, there's a bad bet. This is a tough result. Knicks Sixers over 220.5 to 223.5. It was 67 to 63 at the half, and then I'm sure Brown lit into them about their defense, and they held the Knicks to 38 points in the second half. Embiid left early with an injury as well, and it falls short at 219.
Yeah, I mean, really a tough result, and we're going to call it a bad bet. Frankly, you can argue it's a bad beat. When you have $130 in the first half of an NBA game and it stays under, even 223.5, when you got $130 in the first half and then can't get 93.5 in the second, that's tough. Embiid got hurt and the Sixers played better defense without him. That's scary when you start thinking about what is going on with Philadelphia and their chance to come out of the Eastern Conference. I'm very, very high on the Sixers moving forward.
Bad bet. How about the Jazz? Look at this steam again. They finished a perfect road trip. I'm talking about the Celtics. But the Jazz went from 6.5 as high as 10.5. No Morris, no Horford. We knew Kyrie was out. Smart's out. They won the game. They were down late and closed, I think, with a 9-0 run, whatever it was. Brown was terrific. Perfect road trip for the Celtics as they beat the Jazz.
I mean, is it time to make a rule? We don't make a lot of rules on Sportsbet. There are no rules when it comes to sports betting, and every rule has exceptions. That being said, I don't know that I want to step in front of Brad Stevens as an underdog. In any role, in any spot, in any situation, Boston continues to fight hard, play hard, and win games, shorthanded, not shorthanded. The reserves playing every bit as well as the starters. Even when the Celtics are missing key bodies, they're still winning games and covering point spreads. What did we see, a 4-point move on a TV game last night? The books got to keep all of that money. Bad bets on Utah.
Yep, and money line and teasers out of there as well. Although you don't tease basketball, but still some people insist on doing it. Bad for the books. Hawks T-Wolves over 217.5 up to 220, even without no Schroeder for Atlanta. 240. This was a shootout. Towns goes for 56 and 15, and the T-Wolves, if you laid 12, you still got to push. No Schroeder against a bad team off a horrible loss to Memphis, and Towns goes for 56, and you can't cash the ticket.
Yeah, and of course, this was really bad for the books. The over took steam, 217.5 up to 220. As you mentioned, landed 240. Never in doubt. All the over tickets cash. The game legitimately bounced 11.5, 12, 12.5 all day, depending on where you got it, what time, what book. If you shopped around, didn't matter which side you had, you cashed a ticket. If you didn't shop around, you're still supposed to push. Bottom line is Karl Anthony Towns goes nuts. Minnesota still doesn't cover his chalk, but the books took a bath on this one, both side and total.
All right. Thanks to I Make It Rain Man handle on Twitter. I like that. Pretty good, Christopher. One we missed from Tuesday night. Well, it was exhibition baseball. But remember that Dodger game was called early because there was excrement on the field, a bad sewage pipe, and that cost them a total with the 7.5 because the game was called early.
Yeah, I know. And it's, we like to get all the bad beats. Sometimes we miss one. This is one from, exhibition baseball that I missed. But when you see a tweet like this and you're like, how many different ways are there to lose a bet? Well, he didn't lose. He ended up with a push. But Yeah, when the sewage pipe busts and it costs you a wager, yeah, that's unhandicapable. That's when you're running bad. Sorry, Christopher. I don't know how many people have the over in that preseason finale, but the bottom line is exhibition baseball offers bad beats too. And there was one from Tuesday that we missed.
All right, let's go after these freaking hypocrites, the NFL. Remember, gambling's bad, can't have it, right? Las Vegas is bad. Las Vegas is bad, but they're in bed with the daily fantasy and they play 3-4 games in London when you could bet in the stadium, but there's you could bet on every, William Hill's like 7-Eleven over there. You can bet everywhere. Then it's, okay, well, we'll put a team in Vegas. And now it's like, oh, wait, betting could be legal now in the United States? Look, how about the 180 here from the NFL, Teddy?
This is all good, okay? We can laugh at the NFL for their hypocrisy. There's always been hypocrisy. The bottom line is the stance of the league is legitimately shifting. The tweet, of course, on Sports Handle talking about Roger Goodell's stance. This is from an NFL.com story, and it was a huge quote. I didn't graphic it up. I'm going to read a little bit of it. This is the NFL stance on the potential Supreme Court ruling that could legalize sports gambling. This is Goodell's quote. Well, I don't have any insight into what the Supreme Court is going to do. We're not privy to that. I think what we did this week was make sure that people understood the, I would call it, prospects and the potential for how gambling can change in part because of the Supreme Court decision, how it's evolved on its own beyond that. And this isn't new work. We've been focusing on this for several years. The number one thing which was endorsed repeatedly by our membership was the integrity of the game, though. We have to make sure that whatever environment we're working in, and some of that might be related to what the Supreme Court decides, some of it may be future legislation, we need to make sure we're operating in an environment where we can protect the integrity of the game. Read between the lines there. Roger Goodell is like, yeah, we're okay with it. We'll figure it out. As long as we're going to work, make sure that nobody's fixing anything, but we're into gambling. That's what it says between the lines there. And boy, that's a big difference to what the NFL was saying even 5 years ago, Pauly.
Yeah, well, Goodell works for the owner, so that bozo, what he says doesn't matter. It's all about the owners, and they know this is common sense. And speaking of common sense, I know our stats guy had a great line about the integrity fee. You can stick that the NBA wants that integrity fee from the books, even though Nevada's been a watchdog for over 40 years, and you got Memphis losing by 61 in a sport that had a crooked ref. Go pound sand. But how about this as far as the integrity fee? This is on Twitter. Nevada sports betting revenue numbers for February, the books lost $2.5 million on football. It would have been another $1.5 million if they had to pay the integrity fee tax.
Yeah, Dustin Cooker's a great follow on Twitter if you're interested in the legal aspect of a lot of the sports betting stuff. But the bottom line is books in Nevada lost in the NFL in football for February. They did not a good Super Bowl for the house. When that happens, and then they're supposed to be paying on, and guess what? We took all the risk, and you guys should take a 1% fee off the top. No. It's not going to happen. And we're already seeing people fighting against it in the state legislatures. But the bottom line is leagues are still pushing for it. So it's up to guys like us to say, no, you can't have this. You don't deserve it. You haven't done anything for it. Shut the F up.
All right. Amen, brother. Up next, the NIT title game. A good one. Penn State against Utah. Then we'll get to OKC and the Spurs. And a good one tonight. Kluber against King Felix on Sportsbook. Betting insight today on SBRpicks.com.
Like the show? Help us keep the lights on. Please make sure to comment, share, and subscribe to all the Sportsbook Review videos. Thanks so much. Best of luck. Enjoy the games.